Your account balance is $25.66. To hear the charges for this call, press or say 2. To accept this call, press or say 5. To refuse this call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Funding for phone time will continue until further notice. Thank you for using IC Solutions. You may begin speaking now.
Are you able to talk, or are you busy?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
All right, they just killed Christopher Price.
How'd it go?
I don't know. It's 20 minutes after 6, so it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes for the medication to kill him.
Wow.
So.
Is he a born-again Christian?
Yes, he was.
Oh, good.
Hey, if you want to make an announcement from Alabama Death Row about what you know about Christopher Lee Price, what kind of man he was, if you want that to go out, we can do that. If not, we don't have to. It's up to you, whatever you feel like doing.
All right, if we do that, let me call you back so you get the recording.
I got the recording.
All right. Well, I met Christopher Lee when I first came here in 2006, and he was a kind, caring guy, and he helped anybody that needed help. And he was really excited on getting the sleigh, and then when the sleigh got taken away, he was really disappointed. He had the opportunity to sign paperwork to preserve his life longer by agreeing to only be executed by nitrogen hypoxia. But his attorney advised him not to sign the paperwork. And then by the time he realized that he should have signed the paperwork, the state says, no, you're too late. So he could have preserved his life a little bit longer, and maybe some of the rules would have changed before they got around to doing the nitrogen and the hypoxia executions. But
hey, Thomas, I got to ask you, was he a born-again Christian?
Yes, he was.
Let me ask you this, too. Did he maintain his innocence, or did he give any reason on why he did what he did as far as murdering the pastor man?
I believe he mentioned that he was high at the time, and he really wasn't. It wasn't any malice towards the man. It wasn't any type of revenge towards the man. It just that he was not in his right mind.
I got it.
You know, if you're walking around in a ninja uniform, if I owned the property where this occurred, I definitely wouldn't go out and confront the man. I would have called 911.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. How long did you know him? Just curious. How long did you know Christopher Lee Price?
I met him when I first got to death row in 2006.
Wow, you've known him for 15 years, Thomas.
Yeah. He worked out a lot with the weights. There's no reason for him to die. He could have preserved his life longer, but he screwed up. And by the time he realized his appeals were out, it was too late. If he would have stayed on top of his appeals and followed his case, he might have been able to preserve his life longer. He might have been able to get some type of relief or at least get a life without and be able to preserve his life. But that wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Well, he's in a better place now if he was a follower of Jesus Christ. What can people do to help you, Thomas? You've been on death row for 15 years, 16 years?
Yeah, I'm in need of hiring a private detective. I'm looking for someone that would be interested in helping me set up a GoFundMe page or helping a friend of mine, Gary Stiegler, set up a GoFundMe page so we can start hiring a private detective. The reason I believe I'll be getting a new trial is my first trial was deemed structurally deficient because my attorney was removed for no justifiable reason, which the courts called a structural error. And a structural error voids and nullifies that trial. And when I got to my new trial, due to the delays of the state trying to take my new trial away from me, witnesses for the state had passed away. and then they wanted to use their trial transcripts from the structurally deficient trial or the trial that was voided and nullified. I can't see that the court doing egregious things such as allowing that to stand. If you void something because the framework is totally screwed up, how can you take that same framework or same material that was built on that framework and put it into a new trial? My appellate counsel, John Dalton, he did a really good job arguing it, but he missed a key point that the judges should have known, but I don't know if it registered with him, is the fact that it was a structural error. And if anybody wants a link to the oral arguments, I guess Rudy will put a link with this so you can listen to it.
Yeah, we've got a Dropbox for you that they can find on yearofjubilee.com where they can download a lot of your information. I also encourage anybody that can help you with GoFundMe or legal efforts or whatever the case may be to write a letter to you and start a direct communication. I got to ask you too, while I'm thinking about it, Thomas, Christopher Lee Price, I read that he expressed remorse and said that he was sorry and that nobody should have died like that pastor died. Did he? Does that line up with your experience that he did express remorse for what happened to the pastor?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it was. He was a kid. He was barely, I think, 18, maybe 19 years old when this happened. You know, if he was a couple months, I'm not sure when his birthday was, but let's say within a year. If it was a year earlier, he would have avoided death penalty.
Right, because minors don't face the death penalty, right? Yeah.
Anymore, they don't know.
Yeah.
He would have got the death penalty because of law wasn't in place, but now that the law is there, he would have been a beneficiary from it. And,
Okay.
and how, like I said, if you're running around dressed like a ninja, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
There's seriously wrong with you if you're going to do that. That's like somebody dressed in a soldier uniform and not a soldier.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
All right. Well, that's
he
yeah.
made his mistakes, and but at least he's in a better place than we are now.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth.
What did you saying about being on Earth is closest to hell, or what was it? How did it go again?
Yeah, you know it because I've told you so many times. But I say that this world that we live in is as close as a believer will ever get to hell, and it is as close as an unbeliever will ever get to heaven. And so, if Christopher Lee Price was a Christian, as you say he was, and I pray that he is. Excuse me, I pray that he is, then you're right, he is in a much better place than we are right now, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, so if anybody could help me setting up a GoFundMe page, please contact me, or you can contact Gary, my friend, at Gary@Stiegler.net, STIEGLER.net, and he doesn't know how to do it. He's 70 years old, and he's an old dog trying to learn new tricks, and sometimes that doesn't work. So,
Okay.
all right.
Our prayers are with you, Thomas. And I know that CBS came out with a news piece saying that Alabama prisons were unconstitutional because they were horrific conditions of cruel and unusual punishment all across the state. And I pray that people look into that, because when mainstream news is forced to admit something so horrific, that means it's probably much, much worse than what mainstream news will even tell us. So I pray that people look at that article and realize we got a seriously bad situation going on, not only in Alabama, but all across the country. But our prayers are with you, Thomas, and I don't know what else to say.
I like to also inform the listeners about, just recently got written up because I had a law student take her Facebook page and dedicate it to me trying to help me find legal help. And the charge that I got is unauthorized participation in social network, and the definition of the charge is the establishment, maintenance, or the use of an account by any internet-based social networking site. And social networking site means internet-based website that allows us to create a web page, profiles about themselves, or available to the general public. It offers mechanism for communication among its users to include, but not limited to, forms of chat rooms, electronic mail, or instant messaging. And I just don't understand how I got charged with a Facebook page that didn't even belong to me. You know, and the Facebook page even had an email address to contact Cami Tsai and to try to get me help. And I think that's very unfair that the Department of Corrections is charging me with this because I'm trying to seek legal help.
Well, let me. The incident reports on prisoners to take away their liberties and even their communications is very common, especially anyone that seems to be communicating with this particular ministry, and I don't want to see you punished for that, but is it possible that they could take away your communication privileges and we won't hear from you for a very long time? Is that in the possibility?
Yeah, I think the maximum punishment they can give me is 90 days, anywhere from 30 to 90 days. Loss of privileges such as phone, commissary, and what was the other one? There's three of them.
It's not letter, is it? Is it letter?
No letters. They can't stop the letters. Thank God for that.
All right.
And I just want people to pray that whoever the hearing officer is intelligent enough to realize that I don't meet the definition of it. And secondly, back in 2017, I started a legal ad on writeaprisoner.com. And they said, well, you got to take this down and you can't do this. And I says, why? I'm looking for attorneys. Are you going to pay for my attorneys since the state doesn't pay for my attorneys? And then the warden, she turned around and approved me to have a legal ad on Write a Prisoner. And I don't see how an individual takes that ad and places it on their Facebook page. I should be penalized for it. But hopefully, like it says, whoever what is it called? The hearing officer will have some common sense and realize that I haven't breaking no rules. And all I had to do to verify is they could have contacted Facebook with email address saying Alabama Department of Corrections, and Facebook subpoena compliance would have said whether that Facebook page has ever been accessed with an IP address in Alabama, and that could resolve the whole issue. Because I'd never accessed that account. I had no way to access it. It's somebody else's account.
Yeah.
So if you all just pray for that I get a fair shake with that.
All right, Thomas. We're going to lift you up in our prayers, and I'm sorry you lost your friend Christopher Lee Price. He is in a better place now. And I'm going to also pray for the victim's family. Christopher Lee Price showed remorse for that day when he was high and that terrible tragedy occurred, and we'll lift up the victim's family in prayer too. The whole situation before God. God's in control of everything. So. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
And if anybody can help me, I greatly appreciate it.
Okay. Goodbye, Thomas.
At least send me a letter.
You bet. You bet.
Send me a letter.
Yeah. Everybody. I encourage everybody to write to Thomas. Absolutely. I hope you get a lot of letters, Thomas.
All right. God bless. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.